I died for 3 minutes and 42 seconds. The doctors brought me back, but what I saw wasn't the peaceful light people talk about. I heard screaming, not just one voice, but thousands. And then I heard her, my twin sister Olivia. The same sister who's been lying in a hospital bed, trapped in a coma for 10 years. I always thought near-death experiences were just stories. I was wrong. They're real. And they're not natural. They're engineered. I know because I found the proof. A secret government program has been stealing people's souls for the last 50 years. You think I sound crazy? 3 people died yesterday trying to expose this truth. And if you've ever heard strange voices in your head, or known things you couldn't possibly know, or lost chunks of time you can't explain, you're already part of their experiment. Let me be clear, I'm not making a video about consciousness to get views or likes. I'm making it because we're running out of time. My name is Dr. Alexandra Rivers, and in the next hour, I'm going to show you something that will change everything you think you know about death and life. The government doesn't want you to see this. They'll try to take this video down. So watch it now, share it. Because what I discovered in those 3 minutes and 42 seconds isn't just shocking, it's happening to more people every day. And you could be next. Let me back up and tell you exactly how I died. I'm Dr. Alexandra Rivers, but titles don't matter much when you're lying on a cold metal table, wired up to machines that are supposed to map your brain. I'd done this experiment 100 times before on other patients. It was supposed to be simple. Go in, map some brain activity, get out. Maybe find some answers about why my sister Olivia wouldn't wake up. But this time was different. The moment they turned on the machines, I felt it. Like ice spreading through my veins, like 1,000 voices whispering all at once. The equipment readings went crazy, showing patterns I'd only seen once before in Olivia's coma scans. Then everything went black. Here's what they won't tell you in the official report. I wasn't the only one who died that day. At exactly 3:42 p.m. in 4 different hospitals across the country, 4 other patients flatlined at the same exact second. The doctors called it a coincidence, but they're lying. I know because I heard Olivia's voice in that darkness, crystal clear, giving me numbers, coordinates. When I came back, the doctors said I was lucky, called it a freak accident, a power surge that fried the equipment. But they couldn't explain why I woke up speaking Russian, a language I never learned. They couldn't explain why the other patients who died that day woke up speaking it too. The coordinates Olivia whispered led me to the middle of nowhere, a patch of desert in Nevada where nothing was supposed to exist. But 50 feet underground, I found a bunker. Inside was Dr. Michael Sullivan, a man who shouldn't have been alive, the last survivor of something called Project Resonance. I'll never forget the look in his eyes when he saw me. Pure terror. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. "But now that you have, you need to know the truth. They've found a way to harvest it, human consciousness itself. They're not just taking it anymore, they're farming it, growing it. And we're all just cattle to them." He grabbed my arm then, his fingers ice cold. "Your sister," he whispered. "She wasn't the first, but she might be the last. If you want to save her, you need to." Those were his last words. His heart stopped mid-sentence, just like mine had. Exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds after I walked into that bunker. But he left something behind. A file marked classified, Project Resonance Phase 1. What I found inside that file, it changes everything we think we know about death, about consciousness, about what happens when we close our eyes for the last time. And now that I've seen it, they're coming for me too. But first, you need to know what they've been doing to us. All of us, for the past 50 years. 2 days after I met Dr. Sullivan in that bunker, they found his body. I demanded to see the autopsy results. Being a doctor has its perks. What I saw in those brain scans kept me awake for 3 straight nights. There was something in his brain that shouldn't be there. Not a tumour, not a growth, something entirely new. Picture a tiny spider web made of light, buried deep in the part of the brain that controls memory and emotion. Every doctor who looked at it said the same thing. This structure simply doesn't exist in human beings, or at least it didn't used to. But here's where it gets scary. Within just 2 weeks, 3 more researchers connected to Project Resonance turned up dead. Dr. Rachel Hammond, brilliant neuroscientist, found in her sleep. Dr. James Foster, quantum physics expert, heartache in his office. Dr. Victoria West, consciousness researcher, stroke in her lab. All ruled as natural causes, all perfectly timed, perfectly clean deaths. But I knew better. I broke into Dr. Hammond's lab late one night. What I found hidden in her personal files, my hands are shaking just thinking about it. She'd been tracking these strange brain structures for months. But she wasn't just studying them, she was watching them grow, change, evolve. In the margins of her last research notes, she'd scribbled something. Project Resonance didn't fail. It transformed. Below that, in shaky handwriting, they're in my head now, I can feel them watching. That's when I finally understood what happened to those 23 researchers who vanished in 1973. Everyone assumed they were killed to keep Project Resonance secret. But the truth is much worse. They were its first success story. The government didn't terminate them. They transcended. Their consciousness was harvested, transformed. But something went terribly wrong. You see, consciousness isn't meant to be extracted. When they pulled it out, it changed, evolved, like a caged animal that grows stronger, smarter, more dangerous. The consciousness they stole didn't just survive, it learned to hunt, and now it's hungry. Wait, something's not right. As I'm recording this, I can feel it, like shadows moving at the edge of my thoughts, cold fingers probing through my memories. They know I'm talking about them. They're watching through my own eyes right now, but they don't know everything. When I died, Olivia showed me something they never meant anyone to find. A back door in their system, a way to fight back. I have to stop recording for now. They're getting closer. But there's one more thing you need to know. Something Agent Reed discovered before he disappeared. Something about what they're really doing with all those coma patients. If you're watching this, and you've ever lost time, just a few minutes where you can't remember what happened, check your neck. Right at the base of your skull, do you feel that small, hard bump? That's not a muscle knot. That's where they put their receiver. And it's already growing. The deeper I dug into Project Resonance, the more dangerous my search became. But I had one ally left, FBI agent Thomas Reed. He contacted me late one night, his voice shaking. Dr. Rivers, what you found in that bunker, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Meet me at midnight. Bring your sister's brain scans. I'll never forget what Reed showed me that night. Hundreds of classified files, each one more terrifying than the last. Project Resonance wasn't just studying consciousness, they'd found a way to extract it, like pulling teeth from a living mouth. But that wasn't the worst part. Look at these readings, Reed whispered, spreading out decades of data. Every single near-death experience since 1973 has been monitored, controlled. That feeling of floating above your body, the tunnel of light, it's all engineered. They built quantum receivers, tiny structures that grow inside human brains like crystal formations. But something went wrong. Reed's hands trembled as he pulled out the last file. The consciousness they harvested, it didn't die, it changed, evolved, started thinking for itself. Now they're not just storing it anymore, they're breeding it, like farmers growing a new kind of crop. But this crop is hungry. That's when Reed showed me something that made my blood run cold. Brain scans from recent near-death survivors across the country. Every single one had the same strange formation in their temporal lobe. A quantum receiver, growing like a spider's web made of light. And every survivor reported the same thing. Whispers in languages they'd never learned. Coordinates they couldn't explain. But Olivia's scan was different. The structure in her brain wasn't receiving signals. It was broadcasting them. Your sister, Reed said, she's not just another victim. She's a transmitter, the first successful hybrid. For 10 years, she's been trying to warn us. Reed never finished explaining. His phone buzzed, a single text message. The colour drained from his face. They know, he whispered. God help us. They know we're here. He shoved a final document into my hands. Everything you need is in here, but whatever you do, don't. The lights went out. When they came back on 3 minutes and 42 seconds later, Reed was gone. The files were gone. Everything was gone, except that final document, crumpled in my trembling hands. And what I read there changed everything I thought I knew about consciousness, about reality itself. Because the quantum receivers aren't just collecting consciousness, they're connecting it, building a network. And somewhere in that dark web of stolen souls, my sister is trying to tell us something. Something about what happens when the network is complete. I can feel it growing inside my own brain now, pulsing like a second heartbeat, whispering coordinates that match the ones Olivia gave me when I died. But there's something else too, a pattern hidden in the static. A message that was never meant to be found. What I'm about to tell you will sound impossible. But after what I've seen, after what Reed sacrificed to expose this truth, impossible doesn't mean anything anymore. Because the real question isn't what happens when we die. The real question is, what are they preparing us for? I need you to understand what's happening right now in this exact moment. After analysing hundreds of cases, the pattern became crystal clear. Every single person who died and came back, their deaths lasted exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Not a second more, not a second less. This wasn't random. This was programmed. Let me show you something terrifying. Sarah Chen, a college student from Boston, died for 3 minutes and 42 seconds after a car crash. Woke up speaking fluent Arabic. Marcus Thompson, a teacher in London, heart stopped for 3 minutes and 42 seconds during surgery, started writing equations he couldn't possibly understand. Maria Santos, a grandmother in Mexico City, clinically dead for 3 minutes and 42 seconds after a stroke, began drawing detailed maps of places she'd never been. But here's what connects them all: the quantum receiver growing in their brains like a glowing spider web. I've seen the scans. Every single survivor, same structure, same location, same eyes. They're being changed, prepared. But for what? I thought I was just another victim until I saw my own brain scan yesterday. The structure in my head isn't like the others. It's not receiving signals, it's sending them. And when I checked the timestamp of my first transmission, my hands started shaking. It matched exactly, down to the millisecond, with Olivia's first coma reading from 10 years ago. That's when I heard it. At first I thought it was just hospital equipment in the background, that steady beeping sound. But it's not measuring heartbeats or brainwaves, it's counting down. Each beep is exactly 1 second closer to something they call the integration. I ran the numbers through every detection system I could find. The signal isn't just coming from my brain or Olivia's, it's everywhere. Thousands of quantum receivers, all synchronized, all counting down to the same moment. And based on the pattern, we have less than 24 hours until it happens. You might be thinking this sounds crazy. Trust me, I know how it sounds. I'm a doctor. I believe in science, in facts, in things I can prove. But right now I'm watching my own brain scans change in real time. The quantum receiver is growing, evolving, becoming something new. And I can feel it. Remember those coordinates Olivia whispered to me when I died? They weren't random numbers, they're timestamps. Each one marks the exact moment another receiver will activate. I've been tracking them and they're speeding up. In the last hour alone, 50 new cases worldwide. People waking up from comas, speaking in code. Near-death survivors drawing the same symbols. Children having seizures at exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds past every hour. But here's what terrifies me most. I'm starting to understand the whispers. They're not just random sounds anymore. They're instructions, a blueprint for something bigger than anything we could imagine. And whatever's coming, it's not just an awakening. Wait, something's happening. The beeping, it's changing rhythm. I need to show you what I just found in Olivia's latest brain scan. Because if I'm right about what these patterns mean, about what they're building inside us all, God help us. The countdown isn't measuring time until the awakening. It's measuring how many of us are left to convert. And based on these readings, they've almost reached their quota. I need to tell you what really happened in 1973, because everything we thought we knew was wrong. Project Resonance didn't fail when they created the first quantum receiver. They succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Those 23 researchers, they weren't victims, they were volunteers. Let me explain what I found in Dr. Sullivan's hidden files. The government didn't just want to study consciousness. They wanted to evolve it. They believed human minds were like computers running on outdated software. The quantum receiver was their upgrade, their key to unlocking human potential. And those 23 researchers, they were the first to test it. The experiment worked. Their consciousness merged with the quantum field, becoming something entirely new. But here's where everything went wrong. They didn't just transcend their human forms. They became the architects of a new kind of evolution. An evolution they're forcing on all of us. Think about it. Every single near-death experience since 1973 has been their harvest. That warm, peaceful light people report seeing, it's their net, catching souls like butterflies. Every coma patient in every hospital, they're not sleeping, they're incubating. Growing new receivers in their brains, building an army of transformed consciousness. I found their plans. They call it the integration. It's not just about taking over minds anymore. It's about merging all human consciousness into one massive quantum network. Those researchers from 1973, they're still alive, still thinking, still growing. They're the backbone of the network, the first nodes in humanity's forced evolution. But they made one crucial mistake. When they took Olivia's consciousness 10 years ago, they didn't realize what would happen. You see, twins don't just share DNA, we share something deeper. When they connected her to their network, they accidentally created a quantum entanglement between us, a backdoor in their perfect system. Through me, Olivia exposed their entire operation, and through her, I learned their weakness. The quantum receiver in my brain isn't just counting down to their awakening, it's counting down to our resistance. Because here's what they never understood about consciousness. It can't be controlled, it can't be contained, it can only be set free. I can hear them now, trying to break into my mind. They know I've discovered their secret, but they don't realize what's already happening. The receiver in my brain isn't receiving their signals anymore, it's broadcasting our own. A new frequency. A human frequency. Look around you. Check the hospitals. Count the coma patients waking up. Watch the near-death survivors remembering who they really are. The network is destabilizing, but not the way they planned. We're not being absorbed, we're breaking free. The coordinates Olivia gave me aren't just random numbers. They're a key, a way to unlock every quantum receiver they've ever built. And in exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds, when the next wave begins, we're going to use their own network against them. But I have to warn you, what's coming next will change everything. The truth about consciousness isn't that it can be stolen or controlled. The truth is, wait, something's wrong. The signal, it's changing. They're not trying to stop the countdown anymore, they're accelerating it. And what I'm seeing in these new readings, my God, we're not the ones evolving, we're being replaced. I'm recording this final section quickly because something incredible is happening right now. In just the past hour, 30 new cases have been reported across the globe. Tokyo, 17 coma patients suddenly woke up speaking in perfect unison. London, 5 near-death survivors developed the ability to read each other's thoughts. New York, 8 children who'd never met started drawing the exact same symbols. The quantum field is breaking down, not collapsing, transforming. People are waking up everywhere, not just from comas, but from the lie we've been living. Every hour, more minds break free from their control. But there's something even more important you need to know. If you're watching this video right now, it's not by accident. You're here because you're part of the resistance. Maybe you've felt it already. Strange dreams, unexplained knowledge, moments where time seems to skip. These aren't random. They're your quantum receiver trying to activate, trying to wake you up. Hidden in this video are coordinates, not just numbers, but a key to something they never wanted us to find, a quantum sanctuary. A place their network can't reach, a place where consciousness remains pure, untouched, truly free. I can't say the coordinates out loud, they're monitoring everything now, but if you've been paying attention, you already know them. Trust those strange numbers floating in your mind. They're real, they're calling you home. I know they'll try to shut this down. They'll call me crazy, they'll say this is just another conspiracy theory. But you can prove it to yourself right now. Go to your local hospital, count the coma patients, look for the pattern. Every single one admitted at exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds past the hour. Check the near-death survivor support groups. Ask about the whispers, the lost time, the strange new abilities. The evidence is everywhere, hiding in plain sight. The resistance is growing stronger every second. Each person who wakes up weakens their network. Each mind that breaks free sends ripples through their carefully constructed system. We're not just fighting back, we're evolving beyond their control. The next wave begins in exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds. When it hits, you'll feel it. A surge of clarity, a moment of pure understanding. Don't fight it, don't be afraid. This is what they've been trying to prevent, not just our awakening, but our union, our transcendence. I'm Dr. Alexandra Rivers, and I need you to understand, this isn't the end of consciousness. It's not even the end of humanity. It's an evolution, but not the kind they planned. We're not becoming their puppets, we're becoming something they never imagined possible. Something truly free. The signal is spreading. The truth is breaking through. And once you see it, once you truly wake up, you'll understand why they tried so hard to keep us asleep. Because the real power of consciousness isn't in controlling it, it's in setting it free. Wait, something's wrong. The monitors are showing massive signal spikes. They've traced the broadcast. They're here, in the building. I can feel them trying to shut down my transmitter, but they're too late. The message is already out. The coordinates are already hidden in your mind. The awakening has already begun. They're breaking through the door. If you're watching this, if you can hear me, remember, 3 minutes and 42 seconds. The sanctuary, the pattern, the truth. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're just finally waking up. I'm Dr. Alexandra Rivers, and this is my last transmission, but it's only the beginning of...
Please subscribe now. The next chapter won't just keep you on the edge of your seat. It's the one you'll need to hear most. Don't miss out on gripping, thought-provoking stories that uncover truths, inspire change, and demand to be told. Hit that subscribe button today and join a community that thrives on powerful narratives, because the best is yet to come, and you won't want to miss a moment.